Today I'm in downtown Singaraja, a town that doesn't get much love really from the foreign community at all. I'm going to check it out today, have a bit of a walk around, mainly the central area. I've been here before, had a bit of a look around. Today I just want to walk the streets and see what it looks like, see if I can see anything of interest. Let's check it out. So I'm starting down here on the corner of Jalan Diponegoro and Jalan Erlangga. It seems to be the older part of town. I thought I'd walk down to the harbour area. I know harbour areas do have a little bit of interesting stuff from time to time, so I'm going to go down there and see what it's like. This is the sort of the scene right now. Typical scene in these sort of downtown areas. Small shops selling knickknacks. You got like that dude's doing machinery supplies. There's a couple of little cafes around here, small ones. Not much going on in them yet that I can see. Bit of a mosque there. That looks like a really old mosque as well. That's got quite a bit of character to it, that one. What a bit of character. Hello. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Look at that old writing on those shop windows. Yeah, really nice. Really nice. And we have some old shop houses down here as well. The ones that I've been banging on about for the past few weeks, Ruko. Not a bad start, actually. I mean, I've got a footpath to walk on, which is a good start. You don't always get that in these downtown areas. I'm liking the old feel of it. It's a little bit run down, but I kind of like that. You know, the walls are all a little bit, dissolving. The old paintwork on the building over there has a bit of character, a bit of feel about it. I mean, it's not like you're going to want to like buy one of those buildings, but it's just nice to look at. I think the harbour is over here, I think, from memory. So we'll just have a walk down here. I'm noticing there's a little bit of public transport going around as well. I don't know if that's a common thing these days. I know when I was here last time, which was 15 years ago, there was public transport that used to go everywhere. So you could catch a shuttle bus, or like an angkot or a bemo from Lavina into Singaraja, and then from Singaraja you could get buses, intercity buses, basically big bemos, and they would go all the way to Denpasar. I think there are still some of those intercity buses going, but I think they must be pretty irregular now, because most people just don't catch public transport in Bali anymore. Okay, the old harbour area. This is it. It's a large area. It looks like the old wharf over here has been converted into some sort of restaurant area. Pretty standard in Indonesia as well. You'd have seafood restaurants over the water, and they're usually favourite places for people to go. Not much else here, actually. Let's have a look anyway, see if I can get out there and have a look at the water, see what that's like. Yeah, that's what it's like. Not really much happening here. Oh, I think I remember that big statue, and I can't remember the history of it. Yeah, I do remember that as well. Wow, it has been a long time since I've been here, and it looks completely different to my memory of the place. My memory of the place is that this area here was different. Like maybe that building wasn't there. I just remember some shop houses around here somewhere, and not a big car park. I think that has changed in the past 15 years, but that's unsurprising, isn't it? In the face of modernity, we like to, get rid of all our old stuff and build new stuff. There's a guy fishing out here. A pretty good place to fish, I would imagine, straight off the pier. Let's see if he's got anything. Decent place for a restaurant too. I see some police tape up here. I'm not sure why. It must be dangerous. Look at that. Oh, it's dangerous. Yeah, it's all collapsed. Wow. That's really bad, isn't it? I wonder if what I'm standing on is safe. That's sort of the question I've got straight away. Is that if that's unsafe, this may be as well. Pak, lagi mancing?
Ya.
Tangkap berapa?
Nggak ada.
Nggak ada. Biasanya sebesar apa kalau dari sini?
Segini.
Oh, segitu aja ya. Biasanya buat apa? Masak apa? Hiburan aja, Pak. Iya. Mudah-mudahan dapat ya, Pak. Ya, mari, Pak. Quite peaceful actually right here. I think it's quite nice. These restaurants are quite nice too. I mean, it looks a little bit crappy around here. Like, it does not have a really good look about it, but it's quite peaceful. I might actually find out what that statue is all about. See if I can ask someone first, but I'm interested in that. There's obviously some sort of independence warrior or something like that, isn't it? Because there's an Indonesian flag on it, so I'm not sure it's purely Balinese. Let's find out. Mas, tahu yang patung itu siapa? Kurang tahu. Oh iya, enggak apa-apa. All right, we'll find out. We'll absolutely find out what that statue is of. Maybe I should go over and have a look at the base of it, because there'll be a plaque, won't there? That there is an old colonial building, and it is now a museum called Museum Sunda Kecil. Museum Sunda Kecil. I'll just have a look at this patung first, or sorry, this statue first, and see what it is. But it does have a plaque on it. Monumen Yuda Mandalatama. Well, I've never heard of Yuda Mandalatama, which is unfortunate. Now, I can't really go and ask a local who is Yuda Mandalatama, because it's probably going to be like a huge epic tale about his heroics. So I'm going to find out and see if I can give you a little bit of a story. So I found out this is actually a monument to a guy named Ketut Mrta. I don't know why it's called Monumen Yuda Mandalatama. So sorry for all you history buffs out there, I can't give you the precise details. But I do know that he was an agitator against colonial forces, and that makes sense with that Indonesian flag up there. And once he replaced the Dutch colonial flag in the harbour with an Indonesian flag, which drew a response from the Dutch. And in the end, he was killed, apparently, from gunfire from a ship offshore as he was facing the ocean. And that sort of represents him in that pose there, pointing out to the sea, hand on a flag, one of the heroes of independence in this area of the world. Buleleng is actually the regency. Singaraja is the capital of that regency. And up until 1950, Singaraja was capital of the Lesser Sunda Islands, which are the islands which stretch east from here. So if you go east, Lombok, Sumbawa, Flores, Sumba, all of those islands, it was the capital of all of those areas under the colonial times and in early Indonesian times as well. So Singaraja was hugely important for a very long time. For a very long time. It's not as important now. After the capital got moved to Denpasar, obviously that changes a whole lot of things as well. Very important city back then, and you'll hear a lot of accounts from back in the early days of people arriving into Bali on a ship that docked in Buleleng or Singaraja rather than down south. Such was its importance. And that sort of brought in a lot of other influences as well. Because it was such a massive trading town, because it had a big harbour, you also had these influences like this. Chinese influence. And this is the Lingguangkong Chinese temple. I'm not sure, but I think this may be for 3 different religions. But I'm a little bit reluctant to say confidently, because I remember when I was here last time that was the case, but there are 2 Chinese temples here, and I might have the wrong one, but one of these Chinese temples sort of at least is for the 3 faiths of Chinese religion. But it's quite beautiful in here, isn't it? Look at this. I won't go inside because I'm not allowed to film inside, and I'm not allowed to, I've got to take my shoes off and everything, go in there and pray. I'm not going to do that. But quite beautiful, really well maintained as well. The paintwork is just absolutely immaculate. Better go out the exit way. Like, it's pretty interesting just to come down here and see this, to be honest. Totally no one here. Like, there's a couple of staff in there playing on their phones or whatever, but that's about it. But there is a large Chinese-Indonesian community here. And I've banged on about this a little bit in the past in terms of Chinese people in Indonesia, in that they are their own cultural group. And actually within Indonesia, there are different cultural groups within the Chinese community. So if you're a Chinese person from Bali, you have a different character, a different way of operating than a Chinese person from Medan, that's for sure. Just down by the river there, there's a dog in the river. Oh, what he's doing. I wonder if he can get out. I don't know how he's going to get out of there. Nice bit of graffiti over there though. Really love that. I might go across that bridge actually. Yeah, the Chinese-Indonesian community here are very, very interesting in Indonesia. Very interesting history. They've been migrating since the early days of Indonesia, always been part of the trade. There was a big influx in the 1920s and 30s when there was a lot of disturbance, particularly in southeast China, with famine, war, lots of different bad things going on. People just had to get out of there, and they all migrated down, and they went into places like Singapore, they went into Borneo. This looks like the old road, doesn't it? Beautiful old bridge. Borneo, they went into Sumatra, Java, they went into Malaysia, they went all throughout the islands, and started with nothing, started from scratch, and then did all the crappy jobs, but slowly built up businesses, which is a very mercantile thing to do. Hello, Bart. Which is a very mercantile thing to do, and although it's not universal that all Chinese are rich, because it certainly is. I'm just going to go down here to these graffiti things, and while it's not true that all Chinese are rich, because they know they're not, there is a real focus on education, trying to do better than your previous generation, and I guess working hard, opening a shop, that sort of stuff, with a lot of Chinese Indonesians. For example, in the city of Bandung, where I spent 12 years, lots of Chinese Indonesians there, but most of them will speak Sundanese, the local language of the province of West Java. In Bali, a lot of the Balinese Chinese Indonesians, a lot of the Chinese Indonesians who live in Bali will speak Balinese. You know, so we've quite integrated into the local community, but still with their own culture, their own identity as well. And it's a mix in a lot of ways. The food is not Chinese food, it's Chinese Indonesian food. Completely different to what you get in China. Back to the beachfront here. It's quite nice down here, isn't it? Quite nice. Actually, this looks better than Lavina Beach, actually, with all these, you've got umbrellas out there, you've got bean bags. They could actually do with that down at Lavina Beach. Put all the umbrellas up and the bean bags. That would be a much better option, I think. Seems this is part of a hotel called Hotel Singaraja. That's what this is a part of. It's quite nice, actually. Like for a downtown hotel, really nice. Just had a hot tip from a local to come up here to look for a building. He said there's some old buildings up here which I should be interested in. So he reckons a lot of the local university students come up here to take photos of these old buildings because there's a particular style from a long time ago that they quite like. So I'll see if I can find that. It's going to require a little bit of searching, but straight away I found this building here, which I don't know what it is. Hainan Hui Guan. Might be the person's name. That's an old building. I'm a little bit scared I'm going to get done by the rain here as well. It's sort of clouding over a little bit, even though it's sunny right now. These things can change really quickly. So I'll zoom up here, turn left, see what I can find. I can actually see over in the distance as well some old warehouses. Well, they even look like old shop houses, very old shop houses, really. That big harbour that used to be functional as the main port of Bali really just brought in so much to the city, and what you find with all these old shop houses is relics of the past when this was a major trading port. There's some pretty good looking buildings too, with that one over there, that nice aqua coloured windows looks pretty cool. I'll keep going. Hello. Oh yeah, all these old shops. And they're still operational, all these old shops. I mean, there's still people in there opening up every day and getting a few bucks from this and that. The guy gave me directions of where to go, and I've got no idea where it is. He said, go left, right, and I'm just gonna go straight across here, just a guess. Let's see if I can get across here. Okay, we're across. So I'll go up here. Oh, hello. Okay, well, there's a Pasar Kampung Tinggi. Right, okay. Let's have a quick look. Pretty small market though. Just a little local market, not the big provincial one. Lots of different snacks and things on offer. Pretty standard stuff, eggs and cooking oil, water. A bit of fruit and veg, a little bit of fruit and veg. But not much. I mean, I'm here at the wrong time of day. At the moment, it is 11:20. Totally the wrong time to go to a market. But I'm here anyway. That's what we're dealing with today. Keep going up, see what we can find. Just really quite peaceful. Quite peaceful. If you hear the noise of kids playing in the background, I might be coming up to a little school somewhere. There's a little kampung over the back there. You know, things don't change that much in some of these places. Okay, Sekolah Dasar Negeri 1. So that is SDN 1. So basically Sekolah Dasar, that's the lowest level of school. There's 3 levels here, SD, SMP, and then SMA. So that's the SD, that's where all the really small kids go. Let's see if we nick down here. Oh, actually I just saw something up there. I'm just going to turn right, but I'm just going to go in here because I saw something up there that just caught my eye. It looks like a lion on a caged window, and that sort of is interesting. I like this old paintwork as well. Love all that. No idea what it says. Perdamaian. I think Perdamaian. Guy here with chickens in baskets going up. I'm not sure what he's doing with those. A few dogs around the place. Okay. That looks like some sort of Chinese temple of some sort. That does. That is amazing. Wow, that's a nice little find up here. Oh, some rice drying out there. All these doves and pigeons in there. A few little shops. Oh, that's a little shop for incense, which you can use to go into that thing there. Oh, there's another one over there. Look at that one. Isn't that cool? A little Chinese temple. Just in the back streets in this laneway here that I didn't even know was here. Just beautiful, isn't it? Nice. Nice old building. I might just walk down here a little bit more, see what I can find. This is real sort of kampung. The word kampung can have a bit of a negative connotation as well, so you've got to be careful when you say that word, because if you say it in a negative way, or if you say it a little bit loosely, or you say it, yeah, you can say the word kampung wrong and people get offended, especially if someone thinks they don't live in the kampung and you say, hey, this is the kampung. That's like, not very nice. Not very nice at all. So you've got to be careful. I know that sometimes in the cities, especially in cities like, in a city like Jakarta, if you see what we in the West would call slums, and we call that the kampung, sometimes we might. You've got to be careful because it's not always what the people who live there perceive themselves to be living in. They're in the city now. The kampung's back in Java somewhere in the real kampung. You can also use the word kampungan, which is really a nasty thing to say to someone, is to say, basically, you act like a person from the villages. And that's a really derogatory thing to say. Yeah, so the words, you know, when we learn languages, we need to learn more than just direct translations, because direct translations often don't work. I had someone in the comments on my last video, or a couple of videos ago, saying they learnt the word for thank you, and it was, they learnt terima kasih. Terima kasih, and I thought, well, that's good. But they wanted to know why I keep saying makasih to people. And it's quite difficult to explain without going into an essay. Oh, look at that. Sausages drying out here. How cool is that? Someone's made their own sausages. They look good too. But the basic thing I said to that person was, you've got to walk before you can run. You've got to learn the right way to talk before you start getting into some of the slangs and some of the shortcuts, because there are some real pitfalls when you start throwing around words that you think you might know, but you don't really. For example, the word makasih, if you go and say that to the president, like, they'll understand that you're a foreigner and you probably don't really know what you're talking about. But if you want to be right, you wouldn't say that. You'd be a lot more stiff, a lot more formal in speaking to the president. But that sort of carries through to other people that you might either respect or you think deserves respect, or in particular, Yeah, so that happens with a lot of words. Just be careful if you're learning new words. That direct translations, great, but just be aware that it's not always going to work perfectly. Well, that is interesting. I've just come out to the most wonderful rice field you can imagine. Isn't that amazing? And then a little stream that goes down into the river. Bit of rubbish in there. Well, not a bit, like a truckload of rubbish in there. Lovely. As I try and find my way outside of this little village, it's probably as good a time as any to talk about Bahasa Baku, which is the formal way of speaking Indonesian. And it's the way that you are taught when you go to language classes, and it's the way that you would write a report if you were part of the government, or if you were submitting a document to the government, or if you were writing a letter to request a new visa or apologising for something. You would always use the very formal way of speaking Indonesian. Hello. And yeah, so Bahasa Baku is something that I would always recommend people learn, the formal way of talking. The problem is that if you are in Bali and you learn on the streets, which is what I did do a bit of before I went to formal classes, you learn this really rough way of speaking, which is totally okay on a daily basis with most people. But you find yourself getting into some quite awkward situations where you might speak to a police officer or like an older lady, like an old grandma, and you might be throwing around all these, they're not slang, it's like real language, but you might be throwing around this less formal way of talking. And so it can sound a little bit disrespectful, and you might not sort of get the cultural cues of, you know, if you're speaking to an older woman, don't go and speak, don't call her by her first name. Learning the formal language, Bahasa Baku, totally recommend doing that if you're on a language learning journey. You'll usually learn those more formal ways of talking. If you're looking in dictionaries, you'll definitely find the more formal way. You'll find it in online classes, you'll find it in proper classes as well. And the thing is, when you get to Indonesia, you'll find that people talk a little bit differently to you. They'll talk a little bit more casually, and that's okay. That's part of your learning journey. You've got to learn both ways. You can't just learn one. Some people get frustrated when they're doing lessons that they're learning the formal way to speak Indonesian. They get out into the kampung and everyone's going, udah this, pake, and all these sort of short ways of speaking the language. And they get frustrated that they're learning something that's not very useful to them, for them, you know, day to day. But as I say, you must walk before you learn to run. That's actually when I was learning the language. I was taught obviously the formal way, but one of the things that they really instilled into us is to try and get local friends, try and integrate into the community, because then you will learn some of the shortcuts that they're using day to day and how that will fit into your language journey in the future, and also give you a bit of context about when it's right to use certain words and when it's not. Well, that's interesting. A little sign there, Emas River, Gold River, Kampung Tinggi, which is just where I've been in Kampung Tinggi. So I'm guessing that, I mean, that whole Kampung Tinggi was sort of bordering that river anyway when I was walking up there, up towards the rice field. So calling it a kampung sounds to be okay, because they even call themselves Kampung Tinggi. Just going to nick down some of these back streets, have a look at some of these Roko, Toko Harmini, look at that, it's all carved into the top there. There's some of the old shops. You have a tukang gigi there, see that one? Tukang gigi. Now, if you, there's a few tukang gigi along here as well. Hello. So you use the word tukang in front of like an object. So it really means skilled person or tradesperson. I think saying tradesperson is a little bit not correct, because to have a trade in most Western countries, you need to go through a formal process, whereas here you don't. So tukang is going to be a skilled person of some sort. So a tukang gigi is a skilled teeth person. Doesn't mean they've been to dental school. Well, it 100% means they haven't been to dental school. It's actually a really good identifier to say this person has not been to dental school. They are just skilled, and they will often learn on the job. They might even just, like, you could just fire up your own tukang gigi shop if you wanted to, no problem. Hello. A lot of trading going on down here. And you get tukang this, tukang that, for example. Yeah, you get a tukang for your house to go and repair your roof. Oh, I'm Nick down here, little alleyway. You'd never get me going to a tukang gigi. Rain's just starting to come down a little bit now, but it is still quite beautiful. Like, I'm really central. Look at that house, beautiful. I'm really central in Singaraja right now, like 100% dead centre of town. And it's gotten peaceful again. It sort of feels a little bit like Denpasar in that way. In some of these older areas, it can feel quite peaceful. Yeah. Catering little shop there. Nice. Really nice. Nice part of town. It's older feeling. Siang Pak. Hello. Bikin rumah ya. Yeah. If you go to any large city throughout Indonesia, you will always have little alleyways like that maybe once upon a time were shacks. And over the years, as people have got more money, they've replaced their shacks with concrete buildings and proper paths, and becomes a lot more formalised, but it still has that maze-like feel to it. Double-storey houses, quite simple houses, but a lot better than they used to be, you know, with the shacks. That's an old little building there, isn't it? Look at that, nice windows. So I'm now on, I believe, Jalan Diponegoro. I would be wrong, it is not Jalan Diponegoro, it is Jalan Imam Bonjol. I can see because it's under the name of that mosque there. See, the mosque is on Jalan Imam Bonjol. There we go, look at that. Beautiful little mosque there on Jalan Imam Bonjol. It's the Masjid Agung. The big one there. Beautiful, beautiful place, isn't it? Old style down here. Not much of a footpath, or there is, but it's not really that walkable. I know not everyone's into the whole city vibe when they're in Bali, but I actually quite like it. The contrast to the tourist zone where it's all put on for you. This is sort of raw and exposed, the real Bali. This is what it's all about when you're here, is to get amongst it and enjoy the tourist stuff too, which is exactly what I do. Like, I had breakfast this morning, I had a couple of pastries. Well, it's not very Balinese, is it? But you can sort of dip your toes into both, and that's what I like doing. And I think Singaraja has a lot to offer for the casual visitor. Like, if you come here for half a day, like, let's say you're staying in Lavina, you come down here for half a day, just the morning or the afternoon, and have a sort of poke around, stick your head into a few different places, say hello to a few people, you're probably going to have a pretty good time. You're going to enjoy a few things. That is a great building there. Look at the styling of that. Beautiful. That is a bidan, and a bidan is a midwife. So you can go there if you've got any pregnancy needs. There's a little coffee shop here that Susan's dropped into. Well, I actually dropped her here at the start, and I'm going to go and have a look at it now and see what the coffee's like. This is what it looks like. So you can even get modern coffee here. Pretty cool. I was just reminiscing about a song which they put on the radio here, well, not radio, but you know, on the music here, an old Peter Pan song which is now called Noah. The lead singer actually got put in jail for a couple of years for what's considered a bad thing in Indonesia, which I can't go into, but if you want to look it up, look up Ariel, the lead singer of Noah. You'll find out what happened. Interesting case, and it caused a lot of drama in the city of Bandung, which is where he's from. A lot of drama with conservative people fighting to get this guy put in jail, which is exactly what happened in the end, which is unfortunate because the music that guy makes is iconic in Indonesia. Fantastic artist. Now I've got my coffee. It looks pretty good. Look at that. Like, it looks good. It is good. Yeah, it's a very hot coffee. It's not like scalding hot, which is nice. It's good that it's hot enough. And the good thing about this place, Abuela Coffee, is the location is pretty central. You can get to the harbour from here. You can go up some of the main roads, have a look around, poke around, get to some of those, the village that I went to, that all within probably 500 metres to a kilometre away, a lot of the main internal Singaraja stuff. If you want to go further afield, there's a few museums on the outskirts, a few history things that I haven't shown you today that I will show you one day. But I mean, I don't have time to do everything in every visit that I have to a different place. So, hey, I've enjoyed looking around Singaraja today. I really loved it. And I love that you could come along and experience it with me, because that's part of the journey, isn't it? Bringing people along, sharing what I find, and maybe you can come here one day too, with a different set of eyes. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Bali and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time. Sampai jumpa.